Hello and welcome to Dad Doesn't Have Time for This. So review things quickly and compare them to everything else in existence. Well, the Grammys were kind of a disaster. Aside from Kendrick and the Beatles, I can't really agree with any of the awards this year, which is normal because most of the music I listen to isn't on anyone's lists. So I'm here to give you the proper list of the top albums of last year. I'm going to go over my top 15, starting with number 15. So Cool by Ricky Fitness. Ricky Fitness is one of the Aquabats, and he released a solo album. And you know what? It was a lot of fun. I've dabbled with some of the Aquabats solo albums in the past. For instance, Digital Unicorn was a fun time. And there's been. That's actually the main one. I think Eagle Bones has a solo album I need to check out still. But all in all, So Cool was a fun album from Ricky Fitness, and the first track was a little meh, but everything else I think was a banger. Favorite track was probably Everyone's Invited. I like that one. That one was fun. Just a fun song about how everyone's invited, let's all have a good time. And Ricky Fitness is, yeah, he put out a solid album. I'd say the 255th best album of all time. So there's 15 for last year. And number 14 on the list, we have Indie 500 by Indie Tribe. Indie Tribe is taking my top spot for favorite hip hop conglomeration slash label slash group, whatever you want to call them. And this was no exception. So I'd say best track on it was probably a Red Flag. Yeah, definitely Red Flag. Maybe Pulp Fiction, but probably Red Flag. I have to say, this wasn't as good as their last couple of albums, but then again, this is also more of an EP than an album. There's only 6 tracks, but I had a good time with this. There's more Indie Tribe on this list, but at the 214th best album of all time, that would be Indie 500. Next on the list, I believe, no, wait, actually, we've got 2 Japanese albums on this list. This year, we've got Science Fiction by Utada. Yes, it is mostly just a greatest hits album with a few remixes, but you know what? Previously, I'd only ever bought one of her albums, so, well, 2 if you count the Evangelion stuff. And you know what? I just always really liked her, and when I found out she did all the music for the Evangelion rebuild films, I got into her a lot more, and I really appreciate her music. She's one of my preferred, actually, she may be my favorite Japanese diva. It used to be Yumi Hamasaki, but I think I may like Utada better now. So yeah, I think she's probably my favorite Japanese diva. And I put Science Fiction at the 204th best album of all time. Had a lot of fun with that one. And let's see here, favorite track, I'd have to say... Beautiful World is a cop-out because it's the Evangelion track, and so even though that is my favorite track on the album, instead I'm going to say Addicted to You, the re-recording, simply so that it's not the obvious track that I would have picked. And yeah, solid album. Double LP, good times. So that would be the 204th best album of all time. Next up on the list is the always jazzy Sky Blue. I don't even remember where I heard about him originally. He did an album, Toonami themed, way back in the day, and I've just been listening to him ever since. He's got a really heavy jazz influence on his beats, pretty mellow flow, nothing too crazy, but it's just a nice chill hip hop if you're looking for something to relax to, feel good about life. Sky Blue is always there to deliver. He's a solid act, and he's got a good choice in beanies. Let's see here. If I'm going for favorite track on the album, let's see what we got. Definitely Awesome and Awful. Kind of contrasting how life can be great and terrible at the same time, but if we don't know pain, we can't know joy. So there's evil in the world, so there can be good in the world, and that track helps emphasize that. And it's a true principle. If you live a very sheltered life and never really seen the world, you don't really appreciate what you have, especially if you're in America. So I'd say that Sky Blue's Battle for the Universe is the 203rd best album of all time. Next on the list is No Big Deal from Indie Tribe and his Unplugged Live album. And I like this a lot. He's got a band. It's kind of a roots vibe. He's got a band going. And yeah, I saw him live twice in the last year. Love it. Saw him in LA, saw him in Phoenix. Great both times. And the thing I appreciate about live music is it can go to unexpected places. So my favorite track would have to be Shakira, where he starts off the track this normal with like a Latin beat, and then they just totally replace the beat with Big Pimpin', and it totally works. Shakira is one of my favorite tracks of his. Reminds me of my wife, and yeah, it's good times. So I'd say Shakira off the live album is the best one. And oh yeah, by the way, he released like 5 albums. Well, technically 4 albums and an EP, but yeah, he's just a monster this last year, and he's on this list multiple times. Oops, it is what it is. So I'd say Unplugged is the 198th best album of all time, and that's number 10 on the list of best albums from last year. And next on the list, No Big Deal again, with The People We Became. This was, at the time, what I would probably say was his best album. Actually, no, wait. I actually liked the other one better, but we'll get to that later. Shh, spoilers. The People We Became was a wonderful album, just amazing start to finish. I think maybe Renaissance is probably my favorite track. Although I really like Get Your Business Straight as well, because music industry is a terrible, terrible industry. And yeah, this is just a solid retrospective hip hop album about life and love and relationships and God and everything in between. And it's just a phenomenal album. This man, he just keeps getting better and better every year, and I really appreciate his music, his message, and this man hustles like there's no tomorrow. So I already reviewed this one, but at the moment it's 193 on the list. Obviously things shift. I don't remember if that's where it was last time we talked about it, but that's where it is now. Next up on the list, we have Practice by Jackie Hill Perry. She's gone from Humble Beast to Reach Records, I believe. And she's got a solid start here. Favorite track in the album? It's hard to say. This album's short and sweet and solid. I don't know. Maybe Leave Me Alone, I guess. But I have to admit, Jackie Hill Perry, she's got a deep voice for a woman. But man, can she rap, and she raps good. So this is a little darker, a little harder, a little faster than some of the other hip hop I've mentioned so far. But yeah, if you're just looking for a good, solid, hard hitting hip hop EP, sort of, Practice by Jackie Hill Perry is the 192nd best album of all time. Good times. Next up on the list, the last of the Japanese albums, is East Side 3 by Yoasobi. I really like Yoasobi. It's very upbeat, anime style music, lots of synths and pianos, high BPMs, good melodies, and just solid music, top to bottom. And I like how they release a Japanese album and then an English version of it, and they're slightly different, but they're not quite the same. And it's just a nice yin yang balance back and forth between the English and the Japanese albums. I get them all. They're great. And I really appreciated this one. I'd say this is the 151st best album of all time by Yoasobi. Next up, this album totally hit me out of nowhere. I'd never even... Well, I'd heard of Tori Deshawn, but I never really appreciated Tori Deshawn until I heard Come and See. Man, this album is solid start to finish. It just starts going and it does not stop. It hits hard. It talks about life and challenges and how you just screw up over and over again. And despite that, you just got to pick yourself up and keep going. And man, this album was amazing. Best track, I think Real Life was the one that talks about the girl who just kept messing up her life over and over again and eventually pulls through, or actually I think her daughter pulls through after her mom lives a horrible life. It was just a really sad, depressing story, but I thought it was very well delivered, and Tori Deshawn does an amazing job. And that's why Come and See is the 131st best album of all time. And next up on the list, I already did an individual review for this one, but Tub Rings, The Last and First Men. You can feel free to watch my review for a more comprehensive thing, but if you want very eclectic, very solid music, Tub Ring is where it's at. They are a great band. Every album is unique. They like robots, and they like SETI, and that about sums it up, because this is the 110th best album of all time. Really good stuff. Next up on the list is one that I already reviewed, but I'm going to mention it again, and that would be These Are Not on the Album by No Big Deal. At 102nd best album of all time, this one is... It's technically it's a collection of his singles that haven't been on albums and aren't going to be on albums, hence the title. But you know what? It's an amazing album. Some great songs. What was my favorite one on this one? It's hard to say. President, maybe? Let me go look at the list. What is on this album? President, maybe? Actually, I think I like Coach better. Go Coach. Coach it is. I'm going with Coach. President was close, but Coach. First track, Coach. Hits hard and keeps going. No big deal. His music's so fun. It's upbeat. It's fun. It's exciting. It's happy. It's real life. He's so fun. So that's No Big Deals. These Are Not on the Album. 102nd best album of all time. Now, top 3. Cracking the top 100 list of all time. Starting with Bodega 2 by DJ Michael V, or however you want to pronounce it. This is like a who's who of Christian hip-hop. This guy, he's the DJ for Indie Tribe, and he just gets everyone. Anyone and everyone is on this album. We've got Ty Basil, 1K Pew, Belief, who is semi-retired and did one of my favorite albums of all time, in Fatherhood, the best dad hip-hop album ever. It was this one? I don't remember. Lecrae was either on this one or Bodega 1. I don't remember. Propaganda's on here. You got some Humble Beast guys representing. Indie Tribe. It's just so many good artists. I love this kind of thing. It reminds me of Santana's Supernatural album, where you got all these different people. You got the underlying music, but different people bring a different feeling to the music. And best track is probably... Actually, it's definitely Tribe on the Move. It's just hardcore 90s hip-hop at its best. Such a fun album, track. Reminds me of like the Beastie Boys at their best. Good times. Bodega 2, 99th best album of all time. And the last 2 on this list, I've got individual reviews, so I'm going to go quick. You've got No Big Deals, The People Who Became Reimagined. He took an amazing album and made it even better. I was blown away at how much better this was than the first one. The first one was phenomenal. So that's the 93rd best album of all time. And just above it at 92, finally, we have the Aquabats with Finally. The album, final album from their Kickstarter campaign way back in the day. And just a happy, wonderful tribute to life. Let's Go Live in a Cave. Rewind. So many great tracks. And I have to say, I'm always afraid that band's going to just call it quits and throw in the towel. And when they come back with something new, it always brings a smile to my heart. Best track, I'm going to say, I can't decide. I'm just going to list a few of them. Whatever Forever is an amazing opening. Super solid. Great track. Let's see here. And then finally, between the first and last track, I think those are my 2 favorites. Super solid album, start to finish. It just brings joy to my heart. And it's got more, they brought back a little bit more of a ska vibe. Wonderful time. 92nd best album of all time. There you have it. The actual 10 best albums of last year. Yeah. There you have it. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. This is a little bit longer than normal, but that's okay. Have a great day and enjoy some good music. Peace.